Welcome back, my guildlings. Cole Spire here, and I am back here with some more wonderful news, delving deep into the world of the geek. And boy, have things been going on in our wonderful world. GDC and PAX East happened over the last few weeks, and has been a shirt storm of controversy already. What do you expect? With the likes of Brianna Wu and Quinn hosting panels, respectively. And a big announcement from Leigh Alexander. Yes, these dunderheads have big targets on their backs, apparently. One with Brianna trying to pimp her horrid game Revolution 60 and talk about abuse and things like that, and feminism. And the other with Quinn pimping her new crash override site. Both of these leading women in the games industry did everything except talk about games. Being developers and all, you would think that they were announcing a new game or something like that at these panels. But this comes as no surprise to us here who support Gamergate, for the fact that these two women have made it very obvious that their real goal is to push feminist idealism in gaming. Now, more has come about from Wu than Quinn, though, showing just how relevant the purple-haired warrior for text-based choose-your-own-adventure games really is. Now, I'm going to say something about Brianna that is hard for me to actually verbalize, with how she has acted and letting her behavior show just how immature she really is. I can actually feel the bile coming up through the back of my throat as I think about this. She did something commendable. You heard me. I didn't stutter. She did something that shows she has a brain and wants to be successful in an industry that has really grown to despise her. She had lunch with Mark Kern. That doesn't sound like a big deal, right? For those of you who don't know who Mark Kern is, he is the CEO of MEK Entertainment, makers of fine VR MMOs. He was the team lead of the vanilla version of WoW, producer on Diablo 2 and StarCraft. So, this is not some noob indie game developer. The man has some real chops in this industry, and he has got a hefty repertoire behind him. Apparently, these two have been firing cannon shots at each other over Twitter, as most people do. Brianna Wu took it upon herself to bury the hatchet with Mr. Kern, and both decided to have a wonderful and peaceful lunch while they were at GDC. Mark Kern brought two female associates with him, I'm assuming so he wouldn't have to be alone with her. And they had a great lunch and talked about Kern's policies regarding female employees, like maternity leave and things like that. Now, trying to show her feminist friends and the SJWs that backed her that she was trying to advance their agenda and convert a horrible Gamergate supporter. Holy crap, did that create a tidal wave of hate. The vitriol that came forth from the people towards Brianna Wu was overwhelming. It sent her into a shame spiral and led her to grovel back from her stance about Mark Kern being a decent guy, even though she didn't agree with his stance on the Gamergate situation. She apologized over and over and begged for them to forgive her. Now, here's the thing. She wasn't apologizing to Gamergaters. Oh, hell no. She was apologizing to the SJWs and feminists that turned on her, citing things like, now we don't have to pretend to like her, and I can't believe you would side with a rape apologist, and things like that. The feminists and SJWs turned on her like captive cuttlefish. It was an amazing thing to watch. The hypocrisy of these people was shown front and center, and boy was it worth the wait. These people are losing, and they know it. So, when one of their own tried to give an olive branch to the other side, it was paramount to treason. These people are rabid dogs. I take that back. Rabid dogs aren't in control of their own facilities. These people knew exactly what they were saying and how hateful they really were being. And speaking of someone not in control of their own facilities and filled with hate, Leigh Alexander has announced her resigning from Kotaku, much to our chagrin, to open a brand new Hugbox echo chamber made specifically for women and minorities to have open discussion and have a safe space to talk about pop culture and games. What's the name of this amazing site that is full of rainbows and ice cream and a 2-car garage for every American that joins? Offworld. You know, what we as a rational and competent group of society want her to do. Get off-world. This is going to be an open discussion forum with the leader of the Gamers Are Dead articles, and the editor that openly said, "I refuse to be objective, and I do have an agenda I am pushing. Deal with it." Yup, Leigh Alexander has joined Boing Boing and created a hug box to end all hug boxes. Beware Tumblr. You will have your work cut out for you with articles from this specific site. Like one of Alexander's famous, or should I say infamous, articles about how beating a female gamer in an online game should be considered rape. This site also claims, since it is a safe space from the evils of man and misogyny, no males will be allowed to join in the forums or have anything to do with the design of said site. But the males that identify as female cats with Hitler and the Ayatollah as headmates are welcome as ever. She claims that it won't be an echo chamber, as all types are welcome, unless you have a penis and harbor the toxic masculinity coursing through your veins. If you haven't been able to tell from the last few paragraphs, there are a lot of conflicting items in this announcement. How is it possible to have an open discussion about games, movies, TVs, or even books if the consensus is mainly one specific purview? That is almost the perfect definition of an echo chamber. An echo chamber is where you say something and it is repeated over and over and over again and taken as fact. So when you have a whole group of people who are saying the exact same thing over and over and over again, it will be stated as fact. So these people will then come at us with these facts without proof, because all of the people on this said site have the same ideas, so it must be true. Now, I know that Roberta, the 25-year-old male trans female wolfkin pansexual practicing 5th level vegan Wiccan, will be allowed to speak and have an open discussion of those items. But good old George from Ohio, who is married to the same woman for 30 years and has 3 kids and 5 grandkids, is absent. Or me, my opinion will be absent. Or my girlfriend's opinion, because she sees herself as a humanist, not a feminist. This is nothing more than a new version of Kotaku that doesn't have the backing of Gawker Media. I don't see it being anything more than another Jezebel. and taken no more seriously than the crazy white supremacist spouting his hate speech on the corner. My real question is this: was she fired? I mean, think about it. This is a sudden announcement. She's been ever present on Kotaku. She's still pimping out and pumping out articles. But, I mean, she hasn't been the most lucrative member of the Kotaku family, and her views and actions have driven away more readers and advertisers than any other aggro haters on that site. Was she fired because Gawker couldn't bear to lose any more revenue because of this cancerous woman? The media story is this: she stepped down because she couldn't see a future with Kotaku and wanted to broaden her horizons. In non-double talk, that means she was offered an ultimatum: leave with severance package and her glowing reputation, or be fired publicly. Look, people like Leigh Alexander are never fired by their bosses. They're always asked to step down. Think about it. Any editor or lead developer or even a CEO, they're never fired. They've always decided to step down because of something that happened. Gawker has lost millions of dollars in ad revenue because of Leigh Alexander and her ilk. She was asked to step down, which means basically she was being fired. Of course, I preface that with, this is just speculation on my part. I wasn't privy to the backroom dealings of Gawker and Alexander leaving from said media group. She could have honestly decided that it's time for her to leave, to go to a safer space, since Gawker and Kotaku are open forums. So all I can do is dream that she was pulled from Gawker by her dark brown Annie curls, kicking and screaming about the patriarchy and how the toxic masculinity is keeping her silent. One can only hope. Now, lastly, and I do mean lastly, we have the always honorable Zoe Quinn and her Crash Override hashtag movement. This debacle is going to cause more problems than it's worth. Quinspiracy and her like have gathered armchair therapists and counselors onto a site, non-profit of course, but openly asking for donations to her Patreon account to help those people, quote-unquote, see Tumblristas and feminists who have suffered at the hands of hashtag Gamergate. This is going to crash and burn, not to put too fine a point on it, and serial killer won't be able to hack the planet fast enough to save them. I can hear your eyes rolling in the back of your head. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. She took a hacker name from a character in the movie Hackers that only the hipster cool kids could possibly remember and made it into a website URL. I'm sure she sat there thinking, what can you do to a gate? You can crash into it, override the security systems. Wait, wasn't there a character named Crash Override in a movie? He was a hacker, right? That seems cool. People still think hacking is cool, right? I mean, Lizard Squad was cool. Destroyed a bunch of kids' Christmas by bringing down the Xbox and PSN servers. I'm cool, and I know cool. Hacking's cool. Text-based choose-your-own-adventure depression games are cool. So this must be cool. Or something like that. The panel was at PAX East. She and her 3 Tumblr clones. Seriously, I'm not trying to insult them. I'm really not. But I think just acknowledging them as a white male is insulting them. Look at the pictures. They all look like her, down to the dyed hair and bob cut. They just look like her, just larger, shorter, and socially challenged versions of her. They were there to shill for funding. This isn't going to be like the suicide prevention hotline. No, it's not. Suicide prevention hotline is where people are trained to talk people out of killing themselves and seek professional help. No, Crash Override is not going to be this type of site. This site will be a place to get information on how to feel better about the oppressive males on the interwebs and how to get back at them. I can't possibly see how this isn't going to blow up in their faces. This will go off without a hitch. Possibly. I still give Brianna Wu credit where credit is due, though. She tried to reach out to the other side and get an opposing viewpoint and was denigrated and attacked for her actions and by her own side. She's doing what we have been wanting to do. She has heard what we want to do, and she was trying to do the same thing. We've wanted nothing but open discussion with these people, and we have been attacked. So she went to go get an open discussion to assuage some of the hate that she was getting on her Twitter feed. She did the right thing, and she was attacked for it. Like I said before, she did something extremely commendable and has garnered even a small amount of respect from me because of it. Yeah, her game is still horrible. It is an atrocity. And I've seen Nintendo 64 games that have better graphics. But I can at least respect her a little bit more for trying to do the right thing. And with that being said, it has been one hell of an entertaining few weeks for Gamergaters. Keep up the good work, guys. Keep standing your ground and keep speaking your mind. As you can see from what happened with Brianna Wu, they are getting it. We just want to talk. We want to see why they feel the way they do. And we want them to see why we feel the way that we do. That it's not about sexism. It's about stopping that collusion that Leigh Alexander has and Feminist Frequency has. We want them to see that this is a consumer revolt. And that's going to do it for me, my guildlings. If you liked this podcast, please crush that like button and share with your friends. Subscribe to keep updated on things like game reviews, movie reviews, and other geek culture news. And follow me on Facebook at Help for the Guildless, and on Twitter at Cole Spire. Or you can just click the links below. They're in that bar down there. And in honor of the passing of a great actor and wise man, I say unto you, full hand motion and everything, even though you can't see it, live long and prosper.